request our HOD, Dr. Uma Maheshwari ma'am, to deliver the welcome address.
Good morning, respected Chairman, Mr. J. Satish Kumar sir, Dean, Dr. Shanmugam sir, MS, Dr. Mohan sir, DMS, Dr. Prasanna Babu sir, VP, Dr. Usha ma'am, Controller of Examinations, Dr. PM Subramaniam sir, Director Academics, Dr. Dhansekhar sir, our guest speakers, Dr. Arun Kumar Mohan, Assistant Professor, Department of Physiology, Xavier University School of Medicine, Aruba, Kingdom of Netherlands, Dr. Karthikeyan, Consultant Geriatrician, Max Specialty Clinics and Kaveri Hospital, Salem, professors and all participants. On behalf of the Department of Physiology, Annapurna Medical College, I welcome you all to today's webinar in an insight into aging, and I thank our chairman and management for granting us permission to conduct today's webinar and also for all their support and guidance. I also thank our speakers, Dr. Arun Kumar and Dr. Karthikeyan, for accepting our invitation as speakers and joining us today. Old age is defined as 60 years or 65 years of years and above, and in the US, it is 65 years and above is considered as old age. This is a period of decline in biological functions and the ability of the body to adapt to metabolic stress. The number and proportion of old people is steadily increasing, and it is said by the year 2050, it would be 3 times the present number. While old age is inevitable, unless they are healthy and independent, they could be a burden on the family and on the society at large. Today's webinar is aimed at understanding the changes that occur in the body with advancing age, diseases that are common in old age, and how to be healthy and fit. Dr. Arun Kumar, our first speaker, will talk on physiology of aging, and Dr. Karthikeyan will talk on healthy aging. I hope both the sessions will be useful and interesting to all of us. Once again, I extend my warm welcome and I thank all the participants for joining us. Any queries can be posted in the chat box, and that will be addressed by both our speakers at the end of the session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request our Dean sir, Professor Dr. P. Shanmugam, to say a few words.
Good morning to one and all. First of all, I thank our chairman, who was very keen and personally involved in all the teaching and academic activities of our institution. And by his encouragement, he has been organizing so many new innovative teaching methods and the best practice and all. We are doing it in our institution. I thank him wholeheartedly for giving us an opportunity to conduct webinars like this. And next, I congratulate the Department of Physiology. Yes, I chosen a very interesting and very common problem like aging and healthy aging. So these are two topics that are very, very important. Everyone should understand. So you know, the nutrition and the healthcare improvement, the longevity of every individual is increasing. Nowadays they say above 60 they call it an old age. Now they say above 80 only they call it old age. But they think up to 70 years they call it is an young age only. Or it can be a middle age. So these topics definitely will be useful to all the participants, and they will for practicing our planning our lifestyle will be more useful, I feel. I congratulate both the speakers, Dr. Karthikeyan and Dr. Arun Kumar, will throw insight on the lot of aging process and how to lead the life in old age and the problems, how to sort it out and manage your old age. So I thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation of Department of Physiology and coming and sharing your views with us. With these efforts, I thank one and all for giving an opportunity. Hope all the participants will enjoy and carry home a good message from your speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. C. Bharati, Assistant Professor from the Department of Physiology, to introduce the first speaker of today's webinar, Dr. M. Arun Kumar.
Morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce the first speaker of today's scientific session, Dr. M. Arun Kumar. He is a very sincere and dedicated person, and I know Sir personally. Sir is an assistant professor in Xavier University School of Medicine in Aruba. He did his undergraduate in Bangalore Medical College. He completed both his postgraduate and PhD from MS Ramaiah Medical College, Bangalore. His key areas of interest are electrophysiology, low-level laser therapy, stress and related disorders, and biomedical instrumentation. He has won PGI BMS award for the best paper presentation on his work related to stress in recurrent aphthous stomatitis. He has also won the award for his poster presentation related to yoga and stress, and Sir has around 24 publications in various national and international journals to his credit. He has also delivered various guest lectures. With this introduction, now I call upon our guest speaker, Dr. M. Arun Kumar, to deliver his lecture. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Bharati. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. So it's my pleasure to be a part of this program. Just give me a few seconds. I'll share my screen. My screen. Okay, thank you. So physiology of aging. So what are the learning objectives in this first session? So students should be able to explain the theories related to mechanism of aging, discuss the age-related changes in the organ system of the human body. See, there are a lot of changes with respect to aging, as our professors has already mentioned. It could be related to biological changes, social changes, or psychological changes. So mainly my focus is going to be on biological changes rather than social and psychological changes, because it's a big spectrum of issues per se. And also, to some extent, the student should be able to correlate the pathophysiological changes in the old age. Okay, so what derangement in the physiology is going to cause the pathology of the particular organ? So if you are able to understand these core basics, I think it's worth spending my time in preparation and speaking to you. So let us go to the topics. So what is aging? So basically aging is timing. So organism is born and it goes on over a period of time. And there are a lot of changes that is happening to each and every organ. Okay? So the most important thing is, since it's a time-related event, it's irreversible. So there is nothing called anti-aging, which is physiological. So the physiological is always aging because it is time-related. So one diagram that you see here is basically the diagram of a woman gets aged with predominantly the skin changes that is shown in the picture. So let us go one by one. So these are the systems that we're going to look at. So I'll try and see what all systems I will be able to deliver in the time frame that is given to me. So let us look at the mechanism of aging. So theories of aging. There are two mechanisms. One is primary, other one is secondary mechanism. The primary mechanism is related to intrinsic and biological changes. They are internally programmed. The most common mechanism that is explained for this is telomerase shortening. And there is secondary mechanism which is related to the environmental hazards, the lifestyle factors, the external damage. So what is this telomerase shortening? Look at the diagram. Can I get to listen to the students? What is this? It is a chromosome. So if you look at the end of the chromosome, there is progressive shortening of the chromosomes as the age advances. So you can see the ends are shortening here. At the age 20, this much of telomere is lost. So telomere is ends of the chromosome, which helps the cell division. So when the telomere end is lost, the cell will stop dividing. So this is the most common acceptable theory for aging. And what are the secondary mechanisms? There is a lot of damage that is occurring to the cell because of environmental hazards. So it could be unhealthy lifestyle. Okay, so the most common unhealthy lifestyle is sitting on the chair for a long time. Okay? So sitting on the chair for 4 hours is equal to consuming say, 10 grams of fat with respect to the cardiovascular fitness. So there are a lot of other factors that is shown in the picture. So there are primary mechanisms, there are secondary mechanisms. So what are the theories? So what happens with time? What happens to the cells of the body? What happens to the tissues of the body? There is something called as free radical. Basically, there are free radicals that is released inside the body, like superoxide and other free radicals, which is known to cause damage to the cells of the body, like nucleic acids, proteins, and carbohydrates. As you all know, these are the basic components of the cell and the cellular elements. Any function related to these elements will be impaired, and accordingly, there will be functional impairment and damage to the cell. There is something called as somatic DNA damage theory. It is similar to telomerase theory. Because of the continuous cell division, there is a chance of mutation and DNA damage. And you all know once there is DNA damage, the corresponding protein synthesis gets damaged. Of course, the corresponding mRNA gets damaged, the protein synthesis gets damaged, and the corresponding protein becomes different. There are a lot of other theories. So there is wear and tear theory. The most common disease that we would give as an example here is osteoarthritis or the joint pain. So a lot of elderly people has a problem with joints. They have difficulty in sitting, and it's a side effect of standing and walking for long duration. So there is wear and tear of tissues. Okay, so as the tissues move against each other, there is rubbing, there is frictional damage, and this develops lots of cartilage, bone gets expressed, and there is pain. This is wear and tear theory. Example is osteoarthritis. Rate of living theory. Okay, so rate of living theory is every organism has a set of apparatus which can last for a certain period of time, which means to say the basic oxygen metabolic factor can stay for a particular period of time. Either he consumes it in 4 days or he consumes it in 40 days. That's the rate of living theory. Okay, so a lot of people will actually objection this, will raise an objection for this. And then what is this cross-linking theory? So cross-linking theory is related to accumulation of cross-linked proteins, which again leads to cellular damage. So these are the theories. Just to summarize the names of the theories, there is something called as wear and tear theory. There is something called as rate of living theory, cross-linking theory related to proteins, cross-linked proteins, and then free radical theory, somatic damage. Okay. So free radical theory is being explored by a lot of dermatologists and people who kind of talk about anti-aging skin treatment. And they kind of replenish the body with free radicals. And you all know the fruits and the sprouts are rich in antioxidants, which go to prevent the damage from free radicals. Okay. Anyway, that's about theories of aging. Anybody, any question? You can always type in the comment box. Okay, or you can ask me at the end of the class. Okay, so my chat box will be open, and you can always ask the question. Next is organs. Okay, so let us look at what are the changes in the central nervous system. So I may not be able to cover all the changes related to the central nervous system because of the time factor. I'll just highlight a few things. So what happens to the cortex? what happens to the brain? Okay, the brain shrinks. The size of the cerebral cortex reduces. The ventricles enlarge. The ventricles is where the CSF is present. As the CSF starts accumulating, the size of the brain shrinks. There is also shrinkage of hippocampus. What does hippocampus do? Hippocampus deals with memory. So once there is shrinkage of hippocampus, the person's memory is impaired. The most common problem seen with senior citizens. Okay, so they keep the key somewhere, they forget, and they start searching for it. Okay, shrinkage of cerebral cortex means their cognitive capacity, their thinking capacity reduces. Which again, I contradict because the senior citizen seems to be more cognitively capable than juniors, especially the thinking. Okay, and you can also look at the neuron size. There is decrease in the cell body. The diagram shows you that in the young people, the size of the neuron body will be up to 400 micron meter square. However, as age increases, there is half the number of cell body. The size of the cell body increases to half. This is a significant difference, so it's half. Okay, half in that of the young individual, and it is clinically significant. There are less dendrites, which means there are less connections in the cerebral cortex. There are less synapses, which means there's less memory formation. There is also decrease in the neurotransmitters and neuropeptides that is released from the different parts of the brain. So you can also see the diagram that the number of spikes, please concentrate on the diagram. Whenever you look at the diagram, you look at the x-axis and you look at the y-axis. In the x-axis, you look at the time, and the y-axis, you look at the spikes of the hormone that is released over a period of day. In the young individuals, the length of the spike is this much, which means so much of hormone is released or so much of neurotransmitter is released. However, as the age advances, in the elderly people, the spike is very, very small, which means they have the neurotransmitter positive. Okay, students, you will agree with me that the neurotransmitters is very, very important for any kind of brain activity. If there is less neurotransmitter, I'm sure you will recall neuromuscular junction, how there's going to be a postsynaptic potential production and thus impairment of almost all the functions. Loss of cells. As the cortex shrinks, there is loss of cells. Okay, there is cognitive impairment. Alzheimer's disease is the most common problem. They forget things. Okay, so there is dementia. A lot of other related problems. Dopaminergic neurons are reduced. That leads to Parkinsonism, motor abnormality. So you would have seen the senior citizens walking slowly with pill rolling tremors. Okay, so their face looks like mask. They hardly have any facial expressions. Okay, these are all the features of Parkinson. And the loss of cholinergic neurons leads to autonomic imbalance. They can faint, there will be postural hypotension, there will be decrease in the BP or hypotension. Okay, and their heart may not respond properly or appropriate to the needs of the heart. So special senses, again, it's a vast topic. So there is loss of hearing, there is loss of smelling, there could be loss of taste, a lot of other things. Okay? There is cataract, there is impairment of vision. So all these things are categorized as special senses changes among the senior citizens. There is disturbed sleep pattern, there is decreased memory, there is decreased sexual function. Sleep, I'm not going to explain in full, but kindly concentrate on the diagram. Okay, so the deeper form of the sleep are REM sleep, the stage 4 sleep. This is in children. There is more deeper form of sleep in children. However, as the age advances, you can see the sleep cycles. See, there are 7 cycles of sleep here. Okay. However, what happens in the elderly is the cycle becomes erratic. So they didn't get proper sleep. They won't get up fresh. Okay, they hardly sleep. 3-4 hours is the sleep time. Okay, so they wake up after 4 hours of sleep and they never go for deep kind of sleep. So it's definitely a problem. Without sleep, there are going to be a lot of problems. Okay, so it's moderate in the younger individual when compared to the older people. Children are blessed with longer duration of deep sleep, and that's why they are so much active and they just move around like anything, keep playing with happiness. So sleep brings happiness. Okay? So that doesn't mean that people should sit and sleep there early in the morning. So please get back to the class. Okay. So what are the cardiovascular changes? The cardiac output decreases. Okay, so just look at the diagram, it's very simple. Up till 30 years, the cardiac output increases. But after 30 years, the cardiac output decreases progressively. So you can also tell how much it is, about 1% per year after the third decade. And if you see an individual with 80 years of old will have only 20% of cardiac output, or sorry, half of that of the cardiac output after 20-year-old. Okay? So 20-year-old has double the cardiac output as the 80-year-old. It means their heart's ability to pump blood has decreased drastically. Why? Okay. Why? Because as the age advances, there are three significant changes that is seen. One, there is associated increase in the diastolic and systolic myocardial stiffness, which means the heart is neither pumping strongly nor it is relaxing. So there is stiffness in the functioning of the heart. Okay? So heart is not able to pump as effectively. The cardiac muscles has a decreased inotropic response to the catecholamines. Okay, what are catecholamines? The adrenaline and noradrenaline. The adrenaline and noradrenaline, though it is being produced, they are not able to bring out the sufficient amount of activity in the heart. So the response reduces. There is also amyloid deposition. Amyloid deposition is waste material. They would decrease the function of the organ. So amyloid deposition is invariably seen more than 80% of the individuals above 70 years of age. It was done in an autopsy study where 80% of the individuals above 70 years had amyloid deposition in their heart. So it's not at all important. What happens to the arteries? So there is progressive thickening of arteries with age. The arterial wall stiffness increases, which means the arteries are not expanding properly. So this is because there is thickening of vessel wall, there is calcification of the vessel wall, and there is accumulation of cholesterol. So all these factors leads to stiffness of the blood vessel. Okay, so what happens if there is stiffness of the blood vessel? So because of that, the blood pressure increases. Okay, so kindly consider the diagram. Again, when you look at the graph, you look at the x-axis and you look at the y-axis. X-axis is age, y-axis is BP. We have marked both systolic and diastolic BP here, along with women and men. Look at the systolic BP. Systolic BP increases with the age, linearly, both men and women. The diastolic BP increases until the age of 50-55 years and then starts dropping there. Okay. So this is the changes in the BP. Pulse pressure increases progressively. Okay. What are the changes? So as I mentioned already, especially aorta, the larger blood vessel that is coming from the heart becomes thick, becomes calcified. You all know what is arteriosclerosis, atherosclerosis. Okay, so accumulation of cholesterol, calcification of the arteries, all these things leads to decrease in the elasticity of the aorta, or if you recall the cardiovascular system, there is something called as Wind-Kessel effect. So what is the Wind-Kessel effect? The ability of the artery to relax and pump the blood and keeps the continuous stream of flow of blood. It is largely impaired as the age advances, which leads to BP. Okay, about 50% of the people above age of 65 are considered as hypertension, and value more than 140/90, 140 systolic and 90 diastolic is considered as hypertension above the age of 65. That's about BP changes. Any questions? Anybody? Any questions? Okay.
So they will ask at the end, sir. You can continue, sir. They will be asking at the end.
Okay, questions will be asked. Thank you, Dr. Bhatt. Thank you for that. So the myocardial infarction increases with the age. Okay. So as the age advances, the incidence of myocardial infarction increases, and I don't know if I can bring that incident. So recently there was a death of a young actress by myocardial infarction, which means to say the age criteria for myocardial infarction is diminishing progressively. Okay, so people with less than 40 years are getting affected with myocardial infarction and they are dying from sudden death. So what are the changes that is happening to the heart? One is the high blood pressure. High blood pressure is a significant risk factor for stroke, coronary artery disease, and congestive heart failure. And there are also atherosclerotic changes in the aorta, which leads to these changes. And as I was mentioning, it's an alarming trend to see that a lot of youngsters are succumbing for myocardial infarction. Okay, and people has to explore and try to find some reasons for the same. Okay, so look at the graph again. As the age advances, the incidence of the myocardial infarction is increasing, and it's more the people more than 80 years of age. So changes in the respiratory system. So very interesting, in the respiratory system, the total lung capacity remains same. You know, the total lung capacity is the total volume of the air that stays inside the lung. It remains constant. However, the residual volume and functional residual capacity increases, which means to say, what is going to decrease here? When I say the residual volume and functional residual capacity increases, and so total lung capacity remains constant. So the compromise that occurs here is the vital capacity. Can you see? The vital capacity is the amount of air, the maximum amount of air that can be inhaled into the body with forceful inhalation followed by the forceful exhalation. So which decreases as the age advances. There is also a decrease in post expiratory volume per second and maximum voluntary ventilation, approximately 20 to 30% decrease as the age. You can also see there is decrease in the quantum of air that is taken inside as seen in the flow volume group. So as the age decreases, there is decrease in the amount of inflow of air and outflow. So to quantify it, you can look that a linear decrease of vital capacity starts at the age of 20. So look at the age factor here. So decrement of about 26 ml per year for men and approximately 22 ml per year for women is what is quantified. What is the reason? The reason is there is decrease in the compliance of the lung. The lung is not able to stretch properly. Okay? So imagine if you're blowing the balloon should expand to yield to the pressure. But if it is not yielding to the pressure, the air cannot enter inside the lungs, just like hard balloon, where you cannot push the air. So there is decrease in the vital capacity, which leads to decrease in the total extra reserve, like whatever the extra capacity the person has, like the amount he can exercise or the amount he can run, the speed or the rate at which he can run, all reduces drastically because reduction in the vital capacity. There is also dilatation of bronchioles and respiratory muscle weakness as the age advances, which contributes to decrease in the vital capacity. So decrease in the gas exchange occur with the age. Again, the diagram. So as the age advances, the diffusion capacity of carbon monoxide decreases, and this is because of alveolar septal damage and increase in the dead space. Okay, the diffusion area for the gas decreases, and there is dilatation of the upper airway, which leads to increase alveolar arterial oxygen levels. Okay, so even though there is some amount of oxygen, the person will not be. Okay. So the problem with the elderly is there is increased susceptibility to respiratory infections as well as aspiration. So there is increased incidence of pneumonia, both bacterial and viral, compared with the younger persons. This is mainly because decrease in the immunity. So their general immunity, overall immunity reduces, number one. Number two, there is decreased cough reflex. As I said, the neuronal transmission has reduced, which means to say ability to cough and bring out the foreign particles that is present in the throat reduces. Now, what could this lead to? So this could lead to aspiration of whatever goes to the throat, and that leads to pneumonia, aspiration pneumonia. Imagine food particles entering into the lungs. Air is supposed to enter. If the food particles enter into the lung, it might lead to pneumonia and death of an individual. Okay, so a lot of elderly people die of this aspiration pneumonia if they are admitted to the hospital or in the home because of improper feeding techniques, because of dysphagia, because of aspirations. So this is the bigger problem. So myocardial infarction and other things are the problem related to cardiovascular system, and aspirations and respiratory infections are the problem related to the elderly when it comes to the lungs. So what is the problem with genitourinary system? So kidneys. So kidneys shrink. So you can see there are smaller kidneys. Okay, so volume and weight reduces. How much it reduces? So 70% of the weight reduces. At the age of 90 years, it is 70% as that of the 30. There is drastic reduction in the weight. Okay, decrease in the number of glomeruli. So 1 million below the age of 40 to about 7 lakh by the age of 65. So there is of course 30% reduction in the number of glomeruli, which means to say there is functional decrease in the kidney. Okay, so creatinine clearance reduces. The formula that is given here. For so tubular function reduces, which means to say the capacity to excrete the drugs reduces. So whenever you're prescribing medications to the elderly people, you have to reduce the dosage, maybe half the dosage or depending upon the drug that you are prescribing. Okay, so penicillin, digoxin, any antibiotic that you do, the dosage has to be calculated according to the age because the kidney function and the liver functions has reduced drastically and you need to treat them accordingly. There is incontinence of the bladder. They are not able to hold the bladder. They have to pass urine frequently and the bladder capacity per se has reduced. They cannot hold as much as urine as reduced. So it becomes half. It's only 250 ml. Okay, an adult can hold up to 600 ml and in elderly it's only 250 ml, which means they have to pass urine frequently. Okay, and they are also not aware of the sensation completely, which means to say they're going to get into involuntary micturition or passing urine as and it needs care. So there comes the social factor and psychological factor. Okay. So there is invariably enlargement of the prostate gland. So you can look at the diagram where if the prostate gland is left there, the passage of urine reduces. Okay. This leads to urinary disturbances. And it is related to the presence of dihydrotestosterone in the prostate. Maybe treatment to target this particular hormone is given. Things can improve. Coming to the gastrointestinal system, there is dysphagia, there is decrease in the esophageal motility. So you can see the diagram shows the dysphagia is very common as the age advances. So I think I'm going to go a little quicker here because of the time. I'm going to kind of browse through the slides. Maybe I can share the slide later for you to go through it. Stomach. So there is atrophic gastritis that is seen. So there is decrease in the acid secretion. There is decrease in the intrinsic factor, which means to say the absorption of proteins is delayed, absorption of vitamins is delayed. So overall the nutrition is in. Okay, and there is also they are also susceptible to GERD disease because as I mentioned previously, the esophageal motility has reduced and the lower esophageal sphincter tone is reduced. So this leads to gastroesophageal reflux disease, that is, they will have severe retching and other problems. The colon motility reduces, they might have either constipation, the most common thing, or there could be diarrhea alternating. Okay, so constipation is the most common problem, and there could be sphincteric imbalance also. Okay, they may not be able to hold the sphincter. Okay. Diverticula is an extension or abnormality of the anyway. So this problem with intestinal motility, and there is also alteration of intestinal bacteria. Okay. Intestinal bacterial flora. Liver, yes, there is decrease in the drug metabolism and the weight decreases. Okay, so biliary tract increase susceptibility to stones. So there is always a problem. Okay. Endocrine system, there is impairment in the glucose hemostasis. Okay, there is always hyperglycemia that is seen. Okay, there is always hyperglycemia which is seen. So most common problem in the elderly is osteoporosis because of impaired calcium metabolism and hormone metabolism, and it leads to brittle bones. Okay, the bones become easily breakable. So when they fall, invariably they get fractured. With healing delays, that's another problem. Okay. So there is something related to menopausal problem in women. So there is changes in the dermis and epidermis. Okay, so what happens in the dermis is there are wrinkles that is seen. There is atrophy of the dermis. So skin gets into wrinkles, and because of invaginations that is seen in the dermis. It is mainly seen in the parts which are exposed to the environment, like face, neck, upper part of the chest. So kindly look at the diagram. There are also age spots that is seen. There are also age spots. There is decrease in the vascularity, the blood vessels, the blood circulation reduces. It's also the reason that the elderly patients, when they lie down for a long time, they get the ulcers. Okay? So the gravity ulcers or the decubitus ulcers, and it's very difficult to treat because they have multidimensional problems. So again, there is decrease in the dermal blood supply. So there is decreased wound healing capabilities. Because of this, there is alteration in the collagen and elastin also. Collagen becomes stiffer, which means the skin becomes less fragile, okay, and less pliable with age. Elastin is more cross-linked and has clear healing. The skin changes, you see. So you just remember the first slide. So I think I'm coming towards the end of the presentation. So musculoskeletal system, there is atrophy of muscles. Muscles become weak. The strength of the individual reduces. Okay, it's mainly because of atrophy of muscle cell, and you know the muscle cells doesn't divide. There is no replacement. Okay. Though the diaphragm doesn't change, which means the respiration is intact. That's one of the good things. And there is also decreased locomotion that is seen. They will not be able to walk as much as because of the locomotor restriction. So bones and joints, there could be degenerative joint diseases, so which occurs in 85% of the older individuals. That is mainly because there is wear and tear of the joints in various places. Okay? And this leads to osteoarthritis problems. Any questions from your side? I think I have fairly completed most of the systems. This is one of my prime reference, and I have also used a lot of internet resources which I have mentioned here.
Questions are there.
Okay, I've got one question. Okay, let me take
The question and answer.
the kidney size is reducing in old age. So the kidney size is reducing in old age because of loss of glomerulus. The number of nephrons reduces, as I mentioned. The number of nephrons is going to decrease 30%. So because of that, there's going to loss of. It's an age-related process. As the body is doing something, because there is no replacement of that. And then how to identify telomere movement? I think there is all the genetic technique that is involved in identifying the telomere. It's a DNA fingerprinting and other things. I had another question: how to prevent aging? Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, aging cannot be prevented. Okay, you cannot expect a 6-year-old boy to remain 6-year-old forever. He has to grow up and become 60-year-old. The changes are inevitable. Maybe if certain things follow, preventing accidental deoxidation damage or reducing the environmental factors, then the aging can be delayed. So we see a lot of people looking young. A classical example is Dr. Saravanan from part of town. He looks very, very young because of his diet control and other stuff. Okay, so there are a lot of ways to delay aging, but preventing is practically impossible all given scenarios because it's a time bound phenomenon. Last question. I'll take one more question and then probably I'll add it. So there is something called amyloid. What is amyloid? Amyloid is the degenerative changes that is seen. So just wait for your pathology classes. So once the pathology class starts, you will be kind of taught with a lot of amyloids and amyloids. Okay. As of now, you can just remember that amyloid is nonsense in the cells. They're not required, but they just get deposited and impair the normal cellular function. It's a consequence. Okay. So thank you for the patience listening. I think I can take questions in the end. Thank you.
So we'll be just displaying the certificate of appreciation for you, sir. So students all will be viewing that.
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
Thanks a lot for the session, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Indeed, a very enlightening speech. Now I request.
Next slide. Next slide, introduction.
Now I request Dr. R. Niruba, Professor from the Department of Physiology, to introduce the second speaker of today's session, Dr. Karthikeyan.
Healthy good morning to all. I'm happy to introduce our speaker, a young and dynamic geriatrician, Dr. A. Karthikeyan, sir. He has a credit of being the first geriatrician of the famous Mango City, Salem. Sir has done his undergraduation in medicine from the prestigious Thanjavur Medical College in the year 2007. His MD Geriatric Medicine was from one of the oldest medical college in Tamil Nadu, the Madras Medical College, in the year 2013. We all know that ethics play a very important role in current medical practice, for which he holds diploma in medical legal aspects from Dr. Ambedkar Law University, Chennai. He completed his online PG program in diabetology from John Hopkins University and certificate course in evidence-based diabetes management by Public Health Foundation of India. Karthikeyan sir is an active member of DAS, Diabetic Association of Salem, and he is involved in all his activities. And he has an experience of 8 years in the field of geriatrics. His area of interest is preventive geriatrics, elderly vaccination, diabetes management. He is a visiting consultant in Max Specialty Clinic, Kaveri Hospital, and few more hospitals in Salem like Dr. Sundararajan Hospital, Krishna, Malar, and Sri Chellappa Hospital. I welcome you, sir. We are waiting for a very good scientific session now. Thank you so much. Welcome you, sir. Mute.
Whether my screen is visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Thanks for the nice introduction, ma'am. I thank the Dean of Annapurna Medical College and HOD Madam and Nirpa Madam for offering this wonderful opportunity to present this. And thanks for that nice introduction, Madam. So we will move on to the slides. I think the slide is not changing. IT team, whether the slide is changing?
Yes, sir, you have a quote from Mark Twain. Actually, here.
Okay, next slide, it's not going. 1 second, please.
Okay, no problems. Yes, let's come back. Yes. Sir, mute audio, sir. Audio, sir. Your audio is muted, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
This is a thank you. Sorry for the technical glitch.
Okay, sir.
This is a famous quote from Mark Twain, which I like most. My speech will be in both in English and Tamil, so it's easy to communicate for me. Life would be indefinitely happier if we born at the age of 80 and gradually approach 80. நல்லா இருக்கும்ல 80 வயசுல பிறந்து 18 வயசுக்கு வந்தா. So slide. Where the next slide is start.
அவர் full screen வைப்பார்னு நினைக்கிறேன். அவர் வந்து screen mode ல இருந்து வெளிய வச்சிருந்தாரு.
Slide show.
அடுத்த ஸ்லைட் போக மாட்டேங்குது.
Slide show
Hello.
sir.
Slide show ல இருக்கீங்களா, sir?
ஆமா மேடம். ஒரு ஸ்லைட் ஷோ
வெளிய வந்து
வெளிய வந்து கூட click பண்ணுங்க.
ஓகே. இப்போ ஓகேவா?
If it's going, sir. You can make it a big, okay. Now it's okay, sir.
Is it okay? Or we have to go for it?
No, sir, now it's seen, sir.
Okay. The most common and incidence myths agingல என்னென்ன சொல்லுவாங்க அப்படின்னா old age starts at 65, but it doesn't. As per Picasso, one starts to get younger at the age of 60 only. Old age is a disease. It is also a myth. Old age always bring mental impairment, and old age people are usually poor and powerless. They are homogeneous group in terms of their physiological decline over time, and nothing can be done to modify aging. These are all myths. We can overcome these myths with proper education. So geriatrics. What is geriatrics? Geriatrics is derived from a Latin word Greek, geron, meaning old man, and iatros, meaning healing. It's a subspecialty of general medicine, specializing in the health and illness of old age and the appropriate care and services. It compromises a comprehensive care, that is both clinical, psychological, and social well-being. As a geriatrician, I don't treat the diseases, I treat the patient, because cure is not the optimal goal in geriatrics. What is the optimal goal in geriatrics is preservation of function and improving the quality of life. So why as a separate specialty? Madam has already told that, so I am not going into detail. So there is a global increase in elderly population. Projected figure by 2025 will be 177 million. India has a 7% of population over 60 years of age. The implications of aging is enormous. So this is the aging scenario in India. The population of elderly in India is greater than the total population of more than half the countries in the world. So more than 90 countries மேல பார்த்தோம்னா இந்தியால இருக்க elderly people ஓட மக்கள் சேர்ந்தா அவங்களோட மக்கள் ரொம்ப கம்மி தான். Out of this 81 million seniors, 60% are living below the poverty line. In 2015, there will be a projected 25% of Indian population will be over the age of 60. So by 2015 நம்ம பார்க்க போகும்போது more elder people will be there, and below the age of 30, the people will be living will be very less. So how it increased? Because thanks to the modern medicine developments, so the life expectancy is increased. In the prehistoric stage, the life expectancy was 20 to 35. India 1880 only 25 years the life expectancy at birth. But thanks to modern medicine, now it is reaching up to 82 years in Japan. I hope in India it is around 68 to 70. So these are the physiologic changes associated with the aging. Sarah has explained it very nicely. So I'm not going into detail about this. So disease in the elderly. So which are the diseases exclusively limited to aging? That is osteoporosis, that is loss of bone mass and strength, and osteoarthritis, prostatic adenocarcinoma, polymyalgia rheumatica, temporal arthritis. What are the diseases associated with aging? With a known etiology, with an unknown etiology, like infective etiology, cerebrovascular diseases, myocardial infarction, diabetes mellitus, all non-communicable diseases, and Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and emphysema, etc. So who is an elderly? Developed countries, they mark it as a more than 65 years, they consider as a elderly people. In developing countries like us, we consider above 60 years as elderly people. This is based on the life expectancy, age of retirement, and socioeconomic status. So, as Dean sir told, the classification of elders varies. So, 60 years plus we call as young old, 70 plus we call as old, and 80 plus we call as oldest old. There are 4 types of elders. In geriatric patients, we have to address all these 4 types of patients. They are robust elderly, frail disability elderly, demented elderly, and dying elderly. So, aging and disease. Aging is a process that converts healthy adult into a frail one with a diminished reserve and a vulnerability to diseases. This decline causes number of symptoms and imposes few restrictions on the activities of daily living. So, as a geriatrician, I focus on these geriatric giants. Students will overcome this in the final year Hutchinson's. So, instability and falls. ஒரு கீழே விழுறதுக்கு வந்து ஒரு ஜீரியாட்ரிஷியன் ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டன்ஸ் கொடுப்பாங்க. கீழே விழுறதுல என்ன பெரிய விஷயம் இருக்கு அப்படின்னு சொல்லி நிறைய பேர் கேட்கலாம். பட் இட்ஸ் a death sentence for elderly. So, geriatric patients கீழே விழுந்தாங்க, they have a fall, it is a death sentence. The sequence of events will follow. So, already they will be osteoporotic. The fall will lead to a fracture will lead to a bedridden state will lead to a bed sores, and a bed sores and it will lead to a secondary complications of infections and deep venous thrombosis, like that. So, it is a death event. And also immobility, joint immobilities like knee joint immobility, osteoarthritis, hip arthritis, like that. And also incontinence, both fecal and urinary incontinence. This urinary incontinence is very cumbersome from the elderly females. Both the mixed incontinence, that is stress incontinence and urge incontinence. And they also have an intellectual impairment, that is senescence, cognitive impairment. So, these 4 eyes I focus more than the normal medicine, what we teach and practice in medicine. So, what are the peculiarities when compared to the young age? They have multiple medical problems. So, sugar, அங்காளி பொங்கல்னு சொல்றாங்க மாதிரி sugar, pressure எல்லாமே ஒரு பேஷண்ட் நம்ம கிளினிக் வராங்கன்னா they will be not only with diabetes. இப்போ நான் ஒரு diabetes patients பார்க்கறேன்னா multiple medical problems will be there. And also there will be atypical presentations. For example, fever வந்து கரெக்டாக present ஆகுது. Usually in COVID patients also, the fever may not be the presenting symptom for elderly people. And for example, or electrolytic imbalance, patient will present as a delirium. That is what we call it as a confusional state. So we will usually get a call from ER as a patient looks like a stroke. But on eliciting a history and doing an investigation, we found out there will be a hyponatremia. So there will be atypical presentation of diseases, and the diseases there will be progressive decline. And there are also diagnostic problems and underreporting of problems. And while planning for a treatment plan, we hinder therapeutic problems. We have to take an account of the side effects of the drugs. And usually, most of the elderly geriatric patients are polypharmacy. They usually use more than 4 drugs. And there will be a drug-to-drug interactions, delayed recovery, high incidence of secondary complications like aspiration pneumonia, pressure sores, contractures, which there is a need for rehabilitation. So, these are the geriatric services available worldwide: acute care hospitals, long-term care hospitals, day hospitals, community geriatric care, daycare center, and old age homes. But India, இது எல்லாமே இருக்கா அப்படின்றது it's a very doubtful thing, because it's an emerging field and the importance of geriatrics is very less in India. So, the hope of geriatrics is nowadays rising. So, how we assess the elderly? We assess the elderly as a comprehensive geriatric assessment, as a whole, not to the individual systems. So, simple functional assessment of an ambulatory elderly involves a perfect history and a perfect physical examination, which includes the neurological and musculoskeletal examination with special sensors like vision, hearing, and speech, and urinary incontinence, nutrition level, dental evaluation, and mental status evaluation, which we use a Folstein scale, that is MMS. We call it as MMSE. This is a 30-point scoring system. It is available in net. The depression, we will use a geriatric depression scale. This geriatric depression scale is also available in Tamil, and activities of daily living and instrumental activities of daily living. And I usually do house calls. So while doing a house call, we focus on the home environment and the social support, and we also look for the risk factors for falls. So while planning a drug therapy in elderly, we have to keep in mind about the body mass, the volume of distribution. This volume of distribution, this pharmacokinetics, pharmacovigilance, you will encounter in the second year pharmacology. So usually in elderly, the volume of distribution is less. So a simple drug will act more faster. So especially sedatives and hypnotics. So நம்ம ரொம்ப கம்மி டோஸ் கொடுத்தாலுமே அது நிறைய வேலை செய்யும். And another peculiar feature, adaptable. So the sedative hypnotics continuously யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டே இருந்தாங்கன்னா நம்மகிட்ட பேஷண்ட்ஸ் திரும்ப வரும்போது தூக்கமே வர மாதிரி இருக்காது. இந்த மெடிசனோட டோஸ் இன்க்ரீஸ் பண்ணி கொடுங்க because they have a tolerance. And we also have to keep in the mind most of the drugs are eliminated by our renal and liver. So renal clearance and liver clearance will be keep in mind. And as I told earlier, polypharmacy should be also kept in mind, and drug-to-drug interactions. Usually, in diabetic patients, I encounter hypoglycemia when the patients are using insulin and the same patient having an acid peptic disease. We, as a general practitioner, we use left and right the pantoprazole, omeprazole, PPIs. So these PPIs are more prone for hypoglycemia in elderly people. So when along with insulin, if you are used in the night, especially after a feast, usually before the feast they will take a PPI, and after the feast they take a insulin as an extra dose without informing the doctor. So இன்னைக்கு கொஞ்சம் நிறைய சாப்பிட்டோம், ரெண்டு ஜிலேபி சாப்பிட்டேன், ஒரு 10 யூனிட் எக்ஸ்ட்ரா போட்டுக்கலாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி சாப்பிடுவாங்க. So morning they end up with a nocturnal hypoglycemia. So this drug-to-drug interaction should be kept in mind while deciding a treatment, and also a adverse drug reaction. So the principles of prescribing in geriatrics, usually avoid unnecessary drugs and always keep the comorbid conditions in mind and compliance in mind, whether the patient is compliant or not. The patient is compliant and not compliant, there is no use in using the drug. And always use for an alternate therapy. I am not mentioning about the alternative medicine. Alternate therapy like physical, food, cognitive behavioral therapy, psychotherapy like that, and try to improve the quality of life. Always starts as a low dose and go slow. Keep on reviewing the medication. Regular reviewing of medication is must in geriatrics, and it should be clear instruction in Tamil or their regional languages, so they can follow. So these are the principles of rehabilitation for geriatric patients. We have to keep in mind whether we are treating the primary disease or underlying cause, whether we are going to prevent the complications or exacerbate the complications. And while assessing or setting up a realistic goal, we have to work about the pre-morbid status and then set the realistic goals in rehabilitations. So the main aim of rehabilitation is to achieve a functional independence. This is done only by a team approach, and we need to motivate the caregivers regularly. So this is a management principle. If an acute illness, what general medicine people will do, we also do that active investigation and aggressive therapy. Chronic illness, we have to know the natural profile of the disease, and we have to assess the risk and benefit, cost and compliance. So if the risk is more, don't go for a definitive treatment. The benefit is more, go for a definitive treatment. And the terminal illnesses, palliative care. So this is a team of geriatric unit. Here, geriatric physician may be a lead, but his hands are tied when he is treating alone. He needs specialist services and supportive medical care supports like physiotherapists, speech therapists, nurses, dietitian, social worker, occupational therapist, and health visitor. So these are the age-associated diseases: sensory impairment, arthritis, hypertension, ischemic heart disease, diabetes, nutritional problems, stroke, depression, dementia, osteoporosis, falls, fracture, malignancy, and COPD. Not going into detail about this. As HOD ma'am requested, I'm going to 3 to 3 slides. Because our main focus is on healthy aging, I am not into the proper topic yet. So sensory impairment. The sensory impairment like vision, hearing, skin, taste, and smell has an implication in elderly. It limits the functional independence and it leads to nutritional deficiency. This nutritional deficiency leads to complications like confusion, isolation, irritability, and depression. So, taste and smell threshold will be elevated for elderly. So, the normal taste and smell உப்பு கம்மியா இருக்குன்னா usually there will be a quarrel between மாமியார் and மருமகள் in joint family because of this. ஸோ உப்பு கம்மியா எனக்கு மட்டும் போட்டு தராங்க அப்படின்ட்டு ஒரு கம்ப்ளைண்ட்ஸ் அடிக்கடி வந்துட்டே இருக்கும். But when we examine them, the taste buds will be lost. There will be loss of papillae in the tongue. So these are all the implications. And also due to drugs and medical illnesses, the taste and smell will be altered in elderly. Arthritis, as we know, all know, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and crystal-induced arthropathies like gout are more common in elderly, especially osteoarthritis, which involves the knee, hip, lower spine, cervical spine, and fingers. Osteoporosis is a silent disease until fracture occurs. So that's why I say falls as a death sentence. So it's predominantly affects the post-menopausal woman, especially the wrist, hip, and lumbar vertebrae. It is easily identified with the DEXA scan. So proper treatment can prevent fractures. And BPH is extremely common in old man. It usually causes an obstructive uropathy or infective uropathy. It can be easily diagnosed by ultrasound or urodynamic study or rectal examination, and surgical and medical treatment options are available. So common symptoms as elderly patients, நம்ம ஒரு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஜெனரேஷன் டாக்டரா இருந்தா ஒரு ஃபங்க்ஷனுக்கு போனா நம்மளை சுற்றி ஒரு 4 பேர் உட்காந்தாங்கன்னா the most common complaints come from the elderly is this constipations, insomnia, dyspepsia, pruritus, and dizziness. So constipation ஏன் வருது? There is a reduced fiber and fluid intake, drugs and depression, and lack of physical exercise, chronic illness, and laxative abuse. Usually the most abused drug in geriatrics is sedatives and laxatives. யாரை பார்த்தாலும் Dulcolax. So over 2 years, Dulcolax doesn't work. So yeah, this this is a OTC medication. So it is abused most. So this will lead to a fecal impaction, megacolon, confusion, urinary incontinence. So how we treat is the high fiber diet, plenty of oral fluids, at times digital evacuation. Laxatives, there is a need we will use, otherwise we will not use. So dyspepsia, GERD, peptic ulcer disease, all we know. This is usually in elderly, there will be a prevalence of hiatus hernia. The diaphragm will be relaxed and there will be more prevalence of hiatus hernia. So there will be early satiety and there will be regurgitation. So treatment options are available. And pruritus, this is due to sweat and sebaceous gland secretion is decreased. So they will have a dry and scaly skin. So moisturizer, emollients, antihistamines are treatment options available. So now only I'm coming to the topic proper. What is healthy aging? So healthy aging எப்போ ஸ்டார்ட் ஆகுது? ஸோ 60 வயசுலயா நம்ம ஹெல்த்தி ஏஜிங்கை ப்ராக்டிஸ் பண்ண போறோம்னா கண்டிப்பா இல்லை. ஸோ த ஹெல்த்தி ஏஜிங் ப்ராக்டிஸ் ஷுட் ஸ்டார்ட் அட் த ஏஜ் ஆஃப் 30, ஈவன் 25. ஸோ 60 இயர்ஸ்ல நம்ம எப்படி இருக்க போறோம் அப்படின்னு நம்ம 30 இயர்ஸ்ல பிளான் பண்ணாதான் 60 இயர்ஸ்ல நம்மளால இருக்க முடியும். இல்லைன்னா தெர் இஸ் நோ யூஸ். தமிழ்ல ஒரு சேயிங் சொல்லுவாங்க, நோயற்ற வாழ்வே குறைவற்ற சொல்லுவோம். இவ்வளவு தூரம் ஓடி ஓடி உழைச்சாலும் கடைசியில வந்து ஹெல்த்தியா இல்லைன்னா அவர் லைஃப் இஸ் மிசரபிள். The next slide is not changing. So the healthy aging, the process of developing and maintaining a functional ability that enables well-being in old age. So healthy aging, the optimal goal of healthy aging is avoid disease, maintain a mental function, maintain a physical function, and enjoy the life. So in the healthy aging அப்படின்ற ஒரு கான்செப்டை வந்து எதெல்லாம் டிஸ்டர்ப் பண்ணுங்க, this genetics, personal characteristics, health characteristics, and environmental and social problems. So genetic characteristics, as I said, I am not going into detail. So in the chromosomal damage, telomere shortening, and from the molecular level to the organism dysfunction, it's a lifelong process. Personal characteristics of, there are modifiable characters like education and wealth, and non-modifiable like age, sex, and ethnicity. And health characteristics, age-related trends, health behaviors, how we are setting our health behaviors, the physiological changes, what are the risk factors in health characteristics of aging, what are the diseases we encounter, what are the homeostatic regulations like glucose metabolism, calcium metabolism changes, and geriatric syndromes, as I mentioned earlier. So, environment, all the factors in the extrinsic environment that form the context of an individual life, built environment, people and their relationship, attitudes and values, health and social policies of the government, system that support them, and the services that are easily available. These are the environmental factors which has an impact in the healthy aging. So these environmental impacts are very good now. Like this elderly lady who can climb up stairs and fix a bulb, we can also do. What are the social problems? So we are breaking down, and this nuclear family is also going through the process of living together. So on the concept we are moving together. So as we old age, as we age, when there is a loss of the loved ones, that's elderly women, widows, they encountered a lot of mental stress. And the parents will be living in Salem, and the sons or daughters will be working in Chennai or outside the cities. This migration and dependency poses a social health risk in management of healthy aging. Elder mistreatment is a separate topic, should be discussed. And we also celebrate a elder abuse mistreatment day. So how we maintain a healthy aging? This is the process: healthy assessment and monitoring, nutrition, physical activity, wise cessation. Wise cessation, we are giving up the bad habits, comorbid control, mental health, vaccination, sleep, environmental control, injury prevention, and public health. தேங்க்ஸ் டு கோவிட் இப்போதான் நம்ம வேக்சினேஷன் பற்றி கொஞ்சம் எல்டர்லி வேக்சினேஷன் பற்றி நமக்கு ஒரு ஐடியா வர ஆரம்பிச்சிருக்கு. பட் வி ஆர் யூசிங் இட் ஃப்ரம் த 2010 நியூமோகாக்கல் அண்ட் இன்ஃப்ளூயன்சா வேக்சின்ஸ். ஸோ ரொம்ப ஆச்சரியமா கேட்பாங்க, சில்ட்ரன்ஸ் தானே வேக்சினேஷனு, வயசானவங்களுக்கு என்ன வேக்சினேஷன்ஸ்? பட் 50% ஆஃப் டெத் வில் பி ப்ரிவென்டட் பை வேக்சினேட்டிங் இன் சிஓபிடி பேஷன்ஸ். ஸோ தமிழ்நாடு கவர்மெண்ட் இஸ் giving this vaccination free of cost. Pneumococcal vaccination is easily available in Rajiv Gandhi hospitals. ஸோ இதுக்கப்புறம் வர டாபிக் நான் என்ன சொல்ல போறேன்னா, தமிழ்ல ஒரு 4 ஊ, அந்த வார்த்தைகள்ல ஊன்ற மந்திர சொல் இருக்கு தமிழ்ல. ஸோ இந்த வார்த்தைகள் தான் அடுத்த ஒரு 40 ஸ்லைடை நான் அரைக்க போறேன். ஸோ உணவு, உள்ளம், உறக்கம், உடற்பயிற்சி. ரொம்ப பியூட்டிஃபுல்லான வேர்ட்ஸ், எனக்கு ரொம்ப பிடிச்ச வேர்ட்ஸ். ஸோ இதை நம்ம கரெக்டாக மெயின்டைன் பண்ணோம்னா எல்லா லைஃப் ஸ்டைல் டிசீசஸும் நம்ம ஓவர் கம் பண்ணிடலாம். நாட் ஓன்லி டயபிட்டிஸ், நாட் ஓன்லி ஹெல்த்தி ஏஜிங், ஆல் நான் கம்யூனிகல் டிசீஸ் இந்த 4லும் நமக்கு அடங்கும். ஸோ ஐடி டீம் செஷன் மாதிரி போலாம்னு நினைக்கிறேன். ஸோ இது என்ன நம்ம ஸ்கிரீன்ல தெரியுது என்ன? ஹலோ, am I audible? IT team?
We are muted from this side, sir. We'll tell them to unmute.
Okay. Sorry for a lengthy talk, but வேற வழியில எவ்வளவுதான் கம்ப்ரஸ் பண்ணாலும் அவ்வளவுதான் முடியுது. So this is so we are going for a function or a hotel. We are shown idli and we are shown this slide. What we prefer? நம்ம எதை ப்ரிஃபர் பண்ணுவோம் இதுல? Pardon?
Variety இருக்கிறது தான் prefer பண்ணுவோம். Students
ஆமா. But what we follow as a routine in the morning?
இட்லி தான்.
இட்லி தோசை தான், எல்லார் வீட்லயும் இட்லி தோசை தான். இட்லி தோசை இஸ் த மெயின் ஸ்டேபிள் ஃபுட். மதியம் ரைஸ். ஸோ எவ்ரி திங் கம்ஸ் அண்டர் கார்போஹைட்ரேட். ஸோ வாட் ஆர் த ரீசென்ட்லி ஒன் ஸ்டடி வாஸ் கண்டக்டட் இன் 6 ஐலாண்ட்ஸ் ஃப்ரம் ஆல் ஓவர் த வேர்ல்டு. ஓகேனாவா, சார்ஸ் இருக்க மாதிரி அருபா பக்கத்துல ஒரு கண்ட்ரி, கலிஃபோர்னியால ஒரு இருக்கு மியாமி, அண்ட் சார்டினா இன் இட்டாலி. ஆல் த பீப்புள் லிவ்ட் ஓவர் த ஏஜ் ஆஃப் 100. all the people, 100 people in that village, 100 people living over the age of 100, because they eat rainbows. What they mention as rainbows, they eat colorfully. They have to go and search for their food. நமக்கு வந்து இப்போ கோவிட்க்கு அப்புறம் ஒர்க் ஃப்ரம் ஹோம்ன்றது நிறைய பேருக்கு இதாயிடுச்சு. ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் கூட they are listening as a webinar from in their hometowns. So their staple food is changing over to the white rice. So நம்மளோட கலர்ஸ்ன்னு பார்த்தா ஒன்று எல்லோ கலர்ல ஏதாவது இருக்கும், சாம்பார் சாதம் இந்த மாதிரி எல்லோ ஆர் ஆரஞ்ச் ஆர் ஒயிட், மெயின்லி ஒயிட் ஆர் ப்ரௌன் தான் நம்ம ஃபோக்கஸிங். பட் வாட் வி ஷுட் ஃபோக்கஸ் இஸ் ஆன் திஸ் ரெயின்போஸ். அவங்க வந்து ஈட் ரெயின்போஸ் அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க, அந்த விப்ஜிஆர் கலர்ல இருக்கணும். ஸ்லைடு அதுக்கு அப்புறம் பின்னாடி வரும். ஸோ வி ப்ரிஃபர் வெரைட்டி வென் வி ஆர் கோயிங் அவுட், பட் வி ஆர் நாட் ஃபாலோயிங் இன் த ஹோம். சிம்பிள், ஒரு எக்ஸ்ட்ரா ஒரு 5 minutes தான் நம்ம கொஞ்சம் எக்ஸ்ட்ரா டைம் ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணி அதுக்கான டைம் ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணி நம்ம ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்ணா பின்னாடி நம்ம ரொம்ப ஹெல்த்தியா இருக்க முடியும். அவசரத்துக்கு எப்பவுமே சாப்பிடக்கூடாது. ஸோ குட் நியூட்ரிஷன் வில் மாடுலேட் ஏஜிங். The quality of nutrition is the basic to the quality of life. Malnutrition spectrum, which ranges from elderly, is from undernutrition to obesity. So excess fat poses a risk factor for cardiovascular diseases and joint problems. Undernutrition will impair our immunity, which exacerbate the disease status, that is infectious diseases. So infectious diseases undernutrition will exacerbate. So how a diet should be: a well-balanced diet, adequate exercise, counteract some physiological changes attributed to aging and promote successful aging. So anti-aging interventions going on in many trials. They prefer calorie restriction without deficiency of the micronutrients. So what are the factors influencing the nutritional status in elderly? Decreased physical activity, reduced appetite, and biological changes like decreased gastric acid in the stomach, reduced protein synthesis and bone formation, decreased taste and smell, decreased thirst. And neuropsychological, இப்போ ஒரு பேஷண்ட் டிமெண்டடா இருக்கிறாங்கன்னா அவங்க சாப்பாடு கேட்க மாட்டாங்க. அவங்க சாப்பாடு கேட்கறதுக்கே they will suffer. And if the patient is in depression, they have no desire to eat. And a disease state, acute patients like surgical patients, post-operative patients, malignant patients, and iatrogenic, some drugs will impair your satiety. And the social factors, when they are isolated, when they are poor, when they are below poverty line, these are the factors influencing the nutritional status. So nutritional and aging. Caloric requirements decrease with age by 25%. ICMR என்ன ரெக்கமெண்ட் பண்ணது அப்படின்னா, மென்க்கு வந்து 1800 kilocalories per day and women 1400 kilocalories per day is sufficient அப்படின்னு சொல்லுது. Reduction in quantity of food but not the micronutrients. Protein required is 1 to 1.2 gram per day. That is up to 12 to 14% of our total intake. This should be a soft protein like cheese, beans, peas, legumes, eggs, fish, poultry. So this helps to maintain a bone mass and muscle mass. So fat. So fat should be 10 to 30% of the total calories. That is 50 grams of fat per day. So this fat should be a monounsaturated fatty acid or a polyunsaturated preferred than a saturated fat. So because this fat, excess fat will promote atherosclerosis, which you study in pathology. This promotes atherosclerotic vascular diseases and obesity. So obesity is a risk factor for CV diseases, diabetes, hypertension, and joint problems. So vitamins, this all you know, I'm not going into detail. So vitamins are essential nutrients required for elderly, which is vitamin C especially acts as an antioxidant and it's a cardioprotective. In COVID times also we use the vitamin C for a better beneficiary effect. The vitamin B12 deficiency, anemia, pancytopenia are the complications. So vitamins acts as an antioxidants. So like minerals, calcium is important in elderly because it maintains the bone health. Iron is also important because generally in elderly patients there will be anemia. So this iron supports will help them to improve anemia. And zinc alter the taste sensations and improve this generalized weakness. And magnesium is cardioprotective. Water. So water, நம்ம எவ்வளவு பேர் நல்லா தண்ணி குடிக்கிறோம் between gapல?
Sir, you can ask. The students will interact now. You can ask questions directly to students. Yes.
Students, hi. நீங்க எவ்வளவு பேர் நல்லா தண்ணி குடிக்கிறீங்க?
Yes, somebody
எத்தனை
can.
பேர் எத்தனை பேர் ஆக்சுவலா வாட்டர் பாட்டில் வச்சிருக்கீங்க?
Comment very. You have some students here to tell. Sir is asking, you can tell. Preeti. Preeti kidu.
ஸோ நிறைய பேர் இப்போ வாட்டர் பாட்டில்ஸே ரொம்ப ஃபேஷன் ஆயிடுச்சு. இந்த ஸ்லைட்டா சின்ன வாட்டர் பாட்டில், குட்டி வாட்டர் பாட்டில். நம்ம யூஸ்வலா ஸ்கூல் டைம்ஸ்ல பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு அப்பா அம்மா கொடுத்துடுவாங்க 1.5 liters 2 liters பாட்டில், பிக் பாட்டில் நம்ம பேக்ல வந்து அந்த கிராஸ் பெல்ட்ல மாட்டிட்டு போற மாதிரி மாட்டிட்டு போவோம். இப்போ வந்து 1 liters இருக்கு, 1/2 liters இருக்கு, சின்ன பாட்டில், டின் பாட்டில் மாதிரி வந்துருச்சு. இட் இஸ் ரெடியூசிங் த வாட்டர் இன்டேக்.
Velmuru. Sir was asked. You can ask doubts to sir. Muthukumaran. Sir, he's a very good poet also, sir. You can ask him any questions also, he'll answer.
Okay. At the end of the session, we'll have an interactive session. Any questions I can answer.
Okay.
So it's an important nutrient, but it is frequently overlooked. But usually in elderly, there will be a decreased thirst response. Hence, fluid intake should be encouraged because decreased thirst response will promote a serum electrolyte imbalance. So fluid and water intake in per kilogram per day. So water deficiency is in general will lead to an exhaustion, especially in elderly. It will lead to a constipation, weakness, dehydration, and even syncope, especially in summer. So fiber, 20 to 40 gram of fiber is recommended. That is wheat bran, millets, greens, cabbages, mangoes, guava, and plantain stem. But honestly speaking, fiber content developer நம்ம அதிகமாக எடுத்துக்கிறோம். ஹாஸ்டல் ஃபுட் ஆகட்டும், வீட்டு சாப்பாடு ஃபுட் ஆகட்டும், வீட்டு சமையல் ஆகட்டும். Fibers we focus very less. But these fibers improve your stool content. Stool bulk improve பண்ணும். So the stool will be very soft. When I was as a PG, we used to encounter, when we are in medicine posting, we used to encounter final year students, CRIs with an anal fissure, fistula. So shocking. அப்புறம் அவங்கள ப்ரூவ் பண்ணும்போது பார்த்தா they will be poor intake of water, poor intake of fiber content. So what are the dietary suggestions for achieving dentition problem elderly patients? நிறைய தாத்தா பாட்டி, நம்மளோட தாத்தா பாட்டிக்கு டென்டிஷன் ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ் இருக்கும் இல்லையா? ஸோ அவங்களுக்கு we can focus on milk and soy paneer. நல்ல நம்ம குழந்தைங்களுக்கு எப்படி ஒரு வயசு குழந்தைக்கு எப்படி சாப் பண்ணி ஃபுட்டை கொடுக்குமோ அந்த மாதிரி we should chop the food and give. And preferably the vegetable should be soft cooked. வேக வச்ச காய்கறிகள் சொல்றோம் இல்லையா? ஸோ அதை நிறைய சாப்பிடும் போது the nutrients will be absorbed more. And the fruits we can prefer banana, papaya, mango, cooked apples and pears. Usually in diabetes patients நாங்கள் வந்து முக்கணிகள் சாப்பிடக்கூடாதுன்னு சொல்லுவோம். மாம்பழம், வாழை, மாம்பழம், பலாப்பழம், வாழைப்பழம் சாப்பிடக்கூடாதுன்னு சொல்லுவோம். பட் நிறைய பேஷண்ட்ஸ் வந்து கொஸ்டின் கேட்பாங்க, சார் பனானா சாப்பிடாம எப்படி சார் நான் மோஷன் போகிறது அப்படின்னு. பட் வி ப்ரிஃபர் குயாவா. ஆக்சுவலாக பனானாவோட கொய்யா பழத்தில் ஃபைபர் கண்டென்ட் அதிகம். அது நிறைய பேருக்கு தெரிய மாட்டாங்க. பனானாவோட அந்த பிளான்டைன் இதுன்னு சொல்லுவாங்களே வாழைத்தண்டு. ஸோ திஸ் வாழைத்தண்டு ஹேஸ் அ more dietary fiber content than banana as such. So cooked rice, pongal or vermicelli we can prefer. Usually in elderly, the plate should be in a rainbow color. So this increasing flavor enhances the saliva secretion and fluid intake. So how a balanced nutrition should be in elderly? Helps to resistance of the acute illness. It aids to recovery from the illness, protects against the chronic diseases. It prevents the constipation. It counteracts the aging changes. It maintains a bone health and muscle strength. It's vital for health and prevention of illness. Low calorie, low fat, and adequate vitamins is the preferred. So saying சொல்லுவாங்க, we should eat as a king in the morning and a queen in the night. So heavy breakfast in the morning, moderate lunch, and light dinner. But the sad thing is, most of us skip the breakfast. It should not be done. Skipping a breakfast போது நம்ம நைட்டு ஒரு 10 மணிக்கு சாப்பிட்டு மதியம் 2 மணிக்கு சாப்பிட்றது இட்ஸ் நாட் அன் அட்வைசபிள். So we all love rainbow, seeing a rainbow, yeah. Say then why this rainbow not in our plate? So always eat like a rainbow. Red, orange, yellow, green, purple. This all colors should be in your food plate. So this is the food chart we advise to our geriatric patients. So eat a rainbow every day. Monday, Tuesday ஒரு டேபிள் காலம் மாதிரி ஒரு பிரிண்ட் அவுட் எடுத்து போட்டு கொடுத்துருவோம் இதை பேஷண்ட்ஸ் கிட்ட. ஸோ பேஷண்ட்க்கு நம்ம ஒரு டயட்டிஷியன் அட்வைஸ் பண்றதோட ஒரு டாக்டர் அட்வைஸ் பண்ணா இந்த ரீச் இஸ் மோர். அவங்க வந்து ரொம்ப அதை நிறைய உள்வாங்கிப்பாங்க. ஸோ ஈட் லைக் எ ரெயின்போ எவ்ரிடே அப்படின்னு தான் சொல்லுவேன். எப்படி சார் இவ்வளோ கலர்ஃபுல்லாக சாப்பிடுதுன்னு? சிம்பிள் திங் தான், ரொம்ப கஷ்டமா இருக்கிற மாதிரி இருக்கும் மெஸ்ல பார்க்கறதுக்கு. பை ப்ராக்டிஸ் இட் வில் பிகம் a habit. ஸோ நெக்ஸ்ட் இஸ் உணவு சொல்லி முடிச்சுட்டேன். அடுத்து உள்ளம். மோஸ்ட் ஆஃப் த எல்டர்ஸ் ஆர் லிவிங் alone, so they will be depressed. So this depression has an impact on the function and quality of life. Prevalence in the community is 3%, but in institution like old age home, the depression prevalence is more. They will always have some somatic complaints: insomnia, agitation, impaired concentration, weakness, suicidal ideation, like that. So management, psychotherapy is the best management. Antidepressant comes a second. So dementia, elderly patients, usually there will be a cognitive impairment. We call it as a mild senescence of aging. The வயசானவங்களுக்கு கொஞ்சம் வந்து ஏஜிங்ல வந்து ஞாபகம் மறதி இருக்கும். That is acceptable. What we do is a simple three item recall test. நீங்க கூட அதை உங்க தாத்தா பாட்டிக்கு எக்ஸ்பெரிமெண்ட் பண்ணலாம். என்ன சொல்லுவோம் அப்படின்னா, ஒரு 3 ஐட்டம் காட்டும். ஒரு பேனா, ஒரு கண்ணாடி, ஒரு கீச்செயின் காட்டிட்டு ஒரு 5 minutes கழிச்சு அதை திரும்ப சொல்லுங்க தாத்தா அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம். So if they are able to identify the 3, very good. That is registration and recall. This is a neurological examination you will encounter in the final year. So அப்போ வந்து ஈஸியாக ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணிட்டாங்கன்னா their cognition is good. They are not able to identify 1 or 2 objects. திரும்ப இல்லை, மறந்துருச்சு, இல்லை ஒரு blabbering ஆன்சர் சொல்லுவாங்க, ஒரு கன்ஃப்ளூயன்ஸ் ஆன்சர் சொல்லுவாங்க. அப்படின்னா we have to further proceed to the மினி மென்டல் ஸ்டேட் எக்ஸாமினேஷன். இல்லைன்னா ஒரு கிளாக் டிராயிங் டெஸ்ட், ஒரு சிம்பிளா ஒரு கடிகாரம், ஒரு சர்க்கிள் போட்டு ஒரு கடிகாரம் வரைங்க அப்படின்னா அவங்களால வரைய முடியாது. ஸோ ஆனால் வந்து அவங்க வந்து கன்ஃபாபுலேட் பண்ணுவாங்க, இல்லை நான் நல்லா தான் இருக்கேன்றதை இது பண்ணுவாங்க. இஃப் யூ கீப் ஆன் ப்ரோபிங், திரும்ப நம்ம ரிப்பீட்டட் எக்ஸாமினேஷன்ல தான் டெமென்ஷியாவை அவங்களுக்கு கண்டுபிடிக்க முடியும். டெமென்ஷியாவை நம்ம ஈஸியாக ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஏர்லி ஸ்டேஜஸ்ல கண்டுபிடிச்சோம்னா, இஃப் யூ டிடெக்ட் த டெமென்ஷியா இன் ஏர்லி ஸ்டேஜஸ் வில் பி வெரி ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல் இன் planning the treatment. And there are some form of dementia which is reversible, which is caused by the thyroid hormones or vitamin B12 like that. அது நமக்கு தேவையில்லை, அது ஃபைனல் இயர் வரும்போது நம்ம தெரிஞ்சுக்கலாம். So how we cope with the depression after retirement? So we have to pursue our patient with this extra time, and we have to click to a schedule. We have to volunteer some programs. Social involvement கண்டிப்பா இருக்கணும். We should be keeping active ourselves and increase the meaningful socialization. நம்மளோட பியர் குரூப்ல நிறைய கலந்து பேசணும்னா நிறைய புது ஐடியாஸ் கிடைக்கும். ஸோ as my teacher said, humans are animals. ஸோ நம்ம வந்து ஒரு சோஷியல் அனிமல். ஸோ நம்மக்கிட்ட பேசல, நம்ம அடுத்தவங்ககிட்ட பேசலைன்னா நம்ம வந்து டிப்ரெஸ் ஆயிரும். எஸ்பெஷலி இண்டியன்ஸ், காசிப்பிங் நமக்கு ரொம்ப அதிகம். ஸோ இஃப் யூ ஆர் நாட் சோஷியலைசிங், we are losing ourselves. So this is the 4 mantras, 4 M's of mental health. So movement, mindfulness, meaningful engagement, and mastery in some skills. Movement na exercises, mindfulness na அடுத்த 2 ஸ்லைட்ல நான் எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்றேன் what is that ன்னு. Meaningful engagement with societal involvement and mastery. So mindfulness is paying attention in a particular way on purpose in the present moment without judgment. நம்ம வந்து அவங்க தப்பு ரைட் அப்படின்லாம் ஜட்ஜ் பண்ணவே கூடாது. So it's like a yoga. So how to practice a mindfulness? Take a seat, set a time limit. For just at the beginning, you can help to choose a short time such as 5 to 10 minutes daily. ஒரு 5 to 10 நிமிஷம் மட்டும் வீட்டில் அமைதியாக உட்காந்து பாருங்களேன். ஒரு 10 to 12 days அப்புறம் you will notice the difference. நம்ம ரொம்ப டென்ஷனாக இருக்கும், லைஃப் கரகண்டாக ஓடிட்டே இருக்கும், நமக்கு எவ்வளோ ஹோம்ஒர்க் கொடுக்குறாங்க, எவ்வளோ படிக்கிறோம், நம்ம ப்ரொஃபஸர்ஸ்க்கு இவ்வளோ ரெஸ்ட்ரிக்ஷன்ஸ் இருக்கு, இவ்வளோ விஷயங்கள் இருக்கு. ஏன்னா வாழ்க்கையில ஃபுல்லா டென்ஷன் இல்லாத மனுஷன், கவலை இல்லாத மனுஷனே கிடையாதுன்ற நிலைமைக்கு இப்போ வந்தாச்சு இந்தியன்ஸ். நோட்டீஸ் யுவர் meal however is comfortable for you. Just make sure you are stable and in a position you can stay for a while. உங்களோட மூச்சை நீங்க உணருங்க. Feel your breath. Follow the sensation of your breath as it goes out and as it goes in. Notice when your mind has wandered. எப்போ உங்க மனசு அலைபாயுது, சரி இந்த படம் பார்த்தோமே, இந்த படம் நல்லா இருக்குமே, இந்த காமெடி நல்லா இருக்குமே, இல்லை இன்னைக்கு நம்மள இந்த ப்ரொஃபஸர் திட்டாரு, இந்த ப்ரொஃபஸர் நம்ம பாராட்டினாரு. When you get around noticing this in a few seconds, a minutes or 5 minutes. அதுக்கப்புறம் உங்களோட சிம்பிளா யூ ட்ரை டு ரிட்டர்ன் டு யுவர் அட்டென்ஷன் டு யுவர் பிரீத். பி கைண்ட் டு யுவர் வாண்டரிங் மைண்ட். அதாவது உங்களை நீங்களே ஜட்ஜ் பண்ணாதீங்க. ஐயோ நம்ம இது ஒரு கெட்ட எண்ணம், நம்ம இப்படி நினைக்கிறோம் அப்படின்னு இந்த நிமிஷத்துல நம்ம ஜட்ஜ் பண்ண வேண்டாம். லெட் த மைண்ட் ஃப்ளோட் ஃப்ரீலி. அப்புறம் திரும்பவும் அதுவே ஒரு டாஸ்க் வரும். இதை நீங்க ப்ராக்டிஸ் பண்ணீங்கன்னா படிக்கிறதுக்கு உங்களுக்கு ஈஸியா இருக்கும். Don't judge yourself or obsess over the content of the thought you find yourself lost in. Just come back. அவ்வளவுதான். நம்ம திரும்ப வரணும். தப்பு பண்ணிட்டோம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அதுலயே யோசிச்சுட்டே இருந்தோம்னா வேலைக்கு ஆகாது. So these are the positive activities and negative activities which will help us to overcome depression. So gymல போய் எக்ஸசைஸ் பண்ணலாம், இல்லைன்னா சிம்பிளா எல்டர்ஸ் வந்து they can go for a walking. Work on a deep focus and long-term creative project, writing, building, crafting, whatever may be. And read intellectual or motivational books. Focus on the project to help others. Go for a 45-minute walk. Listen to the uplifting and energy-giving music. So negative activities, usually thanks to the big curse says the social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Participating in the social media or any activity that checks to see how you compare with others. நம்ம போய் சும்மா ஒரு போஸ்ட் போட்டுட்டு வராது பெரிய விஷயம் இல்லை. We keep on comparing with others and being sedentary, watching more than 2 hours of mindless content per week. இப்போ எல்லாம் நிறைய OTT பிளாட்ஃபார்ம் வேற வந்துருச்சு, பிரைம் வீடியோ, நெட்ஃபிளிக்ஸ், லைக் தட். Spending more than 2 hours a week of gaming, PUBG, Free Fire, whatever like that. And eating more than 400 calories per day and negatively discussing people or situation. ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் பேண்டமிக்கே நம்ம திரும்ப பேசி ஃபர்ஸ்ட்ல வந்து இந்த நியூஸ் சேனல்ஸ்லாம் நம்மளை போட்டு ரொம்ப பயமுறுத்திட்டாங்க. அந்த ஸ்ட்ரெஸ்ல இருந்து வெளியே வரதுக்கு நிறைய எல்டர்ஸ்க்கு ரொம்ப டைம் ஆச்சு. ஸோ கோப்பிங் ஸ்ட்ராட்டஜிஸ், as I already told, retirement, develop a new skill, use time for hobbies, personal pursuits, become involved in a meaningful volunteer activities. In elderly people, the death of the friends is inevitable. So we have to allow ourselves to grieve appropriately, establish a new relationship, renew old friendship, and find friendship with the younger ones. So உணவு சொல்லியாச்சு, உறக்கம் சொல்லியாச்சு. அடுத்து உறக்கம். So insomnia, the causes are prolonged illness, pain, drug and depression, anxieties and psychotherapy. So why people don't get enough sleep? Taking sleep for granted, too much caffeine, alcohol, sleeping tablets, shifting work, jet lag, eating and drinking late, failing to wind down before bed, stress, sleep disorders, other medical conditions and drug side effects. So not having consistent sleep, these are the common mistakes. Poor sleep environment, not getting ready for sleep, too much type napping during the day, frequent use of sedative drugs, using alcohol to help sleep, television in the bedroom, staying in bedroom when you are unable to sleep, thinking your sleep problem is worse than it is, ignoring the possibility of having a specific sleep disorder. So this is the sleep hygiene we practice, we advise. That is, appropriate bedroom movement is essential. Avoiding the screen-based devices before bedtime. ஸோ நீங்கள் தூங்குறதுக்கு ஒரு 2 மணி நேரத்துக்கு முன்னாடி முடிஞ்ச வரைக்கும் உங்களோட ஸ்மார்ட் ஃபோன் கேஜெட்ஸை வைக்கிறதுக்கு பாருங்க. அவாய்டிங் காஃபி ஆர் ஆல்கஹால் கன்சம்ஷன் in night. Usually before starting a insomnia treatment, we will try to follow 2 therapies, sleep restriction therapy and stimulus control therapy. So stimulus control therapy அப்படின்னா யூசிங் பெட்ரூம் ஒன்லி ஃபார் ஸ்லீப். பெட்ல போய் படுக்கிறீங்கன்னா தூங்குறதுக்கு மட்டும்தான் அது போகணும். எல்டர்ஸ்ல வந்து there is a saying, only use your bed for sleep and sex, nothing else அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. So only to sleep and sex you should use your bedroom. தூக்கம் வரலன்னா எந்திரிச்சு வந்துருங்க. Leave the bedroom when you cannot fall asleep. எப்போ உங்களுக்கு தூக்கம் வருதுன்னு தோணுதோ திரும்ப போய் படுங்க. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டமா இருக்கும் இந்த ப்ராக்டிஸ். Once you start the practice na, it will be really helpful and it will avoid medications and sleep restriction treatment. What we practice is, we will give a diary to the patient and assess whenever you are asleep, you note down. Whenever you are not asleep, you note down. And after 1 week, the patient will come back. So we assess the sleep pattern. When the sleep pattern is just 6 hours, for example, patient நான் 9 மணிக்கெல்லாம் பெட்ல போயிடுறேன் சார், பெட்ல போய் தூங்க போயிடுறேன் சார், காலைல 8 மணிக்கு தான் எந்திரிக்கிறேன் சார், பட் ஆனால் 6 மணி நேரம் தான் நான் தூங்கியிருக்கேன் சார் அப்படின்ற மாதிரி ஒரு அசஸ்மெண்ட் காட்டுனா, நீங்க 9 மணிக்கு தூங்கி 3 மணிக்கு எந்திரிங்கன்னு சொல்லிடுவோம். ரொம்ப வியர்டா இருக்கும் பேஷண்ட், என்ன சார் 3 மணிக்கு எந்திரிக்க சொல்றீங்க அப்படின்னு. பட் திஸ் ப்ராக்டிஸ் ஷுட் பி ஃபாலோட். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கஷ்டமா இருக்கும். திரும்ப இந்த ரெஸ்ட்ரிக்ஷன் இது பண்ணா அவங்க என்ன பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா, கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமா அந்த ஸ்லீப் பேட்டர்னை இன்க்ரீஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க 3ல இருந்து 4, 5, 6. ஸோ ஸ்லீப் ரெஸ்ட்ரிக்ஷன் தெரப்பி இஸ் வெரி ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல். ஸோ இப்படி தான் நம்ம வந்து ஸ்லீப் ரெஸ்ட்ரிக்ஷன் அண்ட் ஸ்டிமுலஸ் கண்ட்ரோலில் இது பண்ணுவோம். சம் பேஷண்ட்ஸ் வில் நாட் பி ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல் ஃப்ரம் திஸ் தெரபிஸ். ஸோ அவங்களுக்கு வந்து ரிலாக்ஸேஷன் எக்ஸசைஸ் சொல்லுவோம். அப்புறம் கடைசியாக தான் வில் switch over to the medications. So coming to the last part. So this is a elderly man walking alone. And this is a couple practicing exercises. And this is a group of elderly people practicing exercises. Which one will we prefer? We prefer practicing as a group because, as I said earlier, human is a social animal. ஸோ நம்ம தனியாக நடந்து பாருங்களேன். சார் டாக்டர் ஒரு எக்ஸசைஸ் சொல்லிட்டாரு, டெய்லி ஒரு 30 நிமிஷம் நடக்கணும், ஒரு 10 நாள் நடப்பீங்க, 11 நாள் உங்களால் போக முடியாது. இட்ஸ் வெரி டிஃபிகல்ட் பிகாஸ் இட் பிகேம் மோனோட்டனஸ். ஸோ வாட் வி அட்வைஸ் இஸ் யூ வாக் இன் குரூப்ஸ். ஸோ ஒரு கம்யூனிட்டி, ரிட்டையர்மெண்ட் கம்யூனிட்டி இருக்கு, இல்லை ஒரு அப்பார்ட்மெண்ட்ஸ் இருக்குன்னா ஒரு 4 பேர் சேர்த்துக்கோங்க. உங்களோட ஏஜ் குரூப்ல ஒரு 4 பேர் சேர்ந்துட்டு நடக்க வைங்க. ஸோ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஒரு இனிஷியல் திங்ஸ்ல ஒரு இதுவாக இருக்கும். ஒரு 10 days கழிச்சு இதுவும் ஒரு மோனோட்டனஸாக மாறும். ஸோ யூ வாக் இன் அ டிஃப்ரெண்ட் ஜோன். ஒரு நாள் பார்க்ல நடங்க, ஒரு நாள் மலைக்கு போய் நடங்க, ஒரு நாள் ஏற்காடு போய் நடங்க. ஸோ யூ ஆஃபர் சம் ஆக்டிவிட்டி. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி இஃப் யூ ஆர் வாக்கிங் எ குரூப்னா இட் வில் பி வெரி ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல் அண்ட் இட் ஹெல்ப்ஸ் டு அக்கம்ப்ளிஷ் யுவர் டாஸ்க். ஸோ ரெகுலர் brisk walking improves the circulation and well-being. It is useful to prevent many diseases and it is a mental exercise too. ஸோ நீங்கள் ஒரு வாக்கிங் மார்னிங் எந்திரிச்சு போயிட்டு வந்து பாருங்களேன், ஒரு நல்ல ஒரு இந்த மாதிரி கிளைமேட்டிக் கண்டிஷன்ல யூ ஃபீல் ரெஃப்ரெஷ்ட். ஸோ தீஸ் ஆர் த டைப் ஆஃப் எக்ஸசைசஸ் வி அட்வைஸ் ஃபார் adult 65 years and up. ஸோ சிம்பிள் மாடரேட் இன்டென்சிட்டி எக்ஸசைஸ், நம்ம வெயிட்டை தூக்கணும் அப்படின்லாம் அட்வைஸ் பண்ண போகிறது இல்லை. சிம்பிள் ஏரோபிக் எக்ஸசைசஸ். இந்த இன்டென்சிட்டி இஸ் மாடரேட்னா 30 minutes per day. 5 days per week is sufficient. You can take 2 days rest. Strengthen exercises வந்து for those patients who are not ambulant. ஸோ ஸ்ட்ரென்தன் எக்ஸசைசஸ்னா காலை மடக்கி நீட்டுறது, கையை மடக்கி நீட்டுறது, ஸ்ட்ரெச்சிங் எக்ஸசைசஸ் தான் ஸ்ட்ரென்தன் அண்ட் ஃபிளெக்சிபிலிட்டி எக்ஸசைஸ். இந்த கைட் அண்ட் பேலன்ஸ் எக்ஸசைசஸ் சிம்பிளா நம்மள சின்ன வயசுல வாத்தியார் ஏதாவது பிரச்சனை பண்ணோம்னா ஒத்த கால நிலை அப்படின்னு சில நேரத்தில் சொல்லுவாங்க. தட்ஸ் கால்ட் அஸ் பேலன்சிங் எக்ஸசைசஸ். ஸோ சப்ஸ்டன்ஸ் அபியூஸ், வி ஷுட் அவாய்ட் ஸ்மோக்கிங், ஆல்கஹால் அண்ட் செல்ஃப் மெடிகேஷன் பிகாஸ் திஸ் வில் லீட் டு endanger our lives and it will lead to COPD, stroke and multiple diseases. அண்ட் இந்த உணவு, உள்ளம், உறக்கம், உடற்பயிற்சி மட்டும் போதாது. எல்டர்ஸ்க்கு there is a need for a periodic health checkup to detect silent diseases and malignancy because early diagnosis prevent and aids effective management. So in a nutshell, between 2000 to 2015, the number of people aged 60 and over is expected to double. 1 in 5 people will be 60 years or older. By 2050, 80% of the older people will be living in a low and middle income countries like us. So every older person is different. Some have the level of functioning of 30-year-old. Some require full-time assistance for basic everyday tasks. So health is a crucial thing to how we experience our old age. So நம்ம 60 வயசுல எப்படி இருக்கணும்ன்றதை we have to plan after our 30 years of age. So what influences the health in elder age? Already I told that behaviors, age-related changes, genetics, diseases, social facilities, transport, assistive technologies, and housing. So what is need for a healthy aging? A change in the way we think about aging and older people. முதல்ல நம்மளோட பார்வை நம்ம மாத்திக்கணும். வயசானவங்க அவங்க ஒண்ணுக்குமே யூஸ் இல்லை, ஒண்ணுக்குமே லாக்கி இல்லை, வயசானவங்கன்னா ஒரு மூலையில தான் இருக்கணும் அப்படின்றது கிடையாது. And the certain creation of age-friendly environments, as we talked about, ஒரு peer group form பண்ணி WhatsApp group. Usually my patients have a WhatsApp group. Parkinson patients க்கு ஒரு WhatsApp group வச்சிருக்கோம். Diabetes patients க்கு ஒரு WhatsApp group வச்சிருக்கோம். So they can interact and they come up with a solution that will be useful. Alignment of health systems to the needs of the older people. But நம்ம countryல இது இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் டெவலப் ஆகிறதுக்கு லேட் ஆகும். Development of systems for long-term care. So what is the aim of geriatrics? Is aim to add life to years, not years to life. Thank you. Any questions we can ask?
So I have one question to Dr. Karthikeyan. What is your opinion regarding paleo diet?
Paleo diet, personally, I won't accept, ma'am, because Paleolithic age is different. This Neolithic age is different. What we advise now, okay, low carb diet is advisable, but eating full red meat is not advisable because already the patient is constipated in elderly and their GI tract is slow moving, slow transit. It will also poses a risk for red meat poses a risk for colorectal cancers. So usually I don't advise paleo diet. If patient are following, they are well and good now. Okay. What is the problem with the paleo diet is starting is easy, but maintaining is very difficult.
Chat box, sir. Chat box. So we have some questions from our staffs, faculties, and students, sir.
Students கூட நம்ம open forum வச்சுக்கலாம் madam. Anyone can ask you the mic.
Students, that camera has, I think, ma'am, the camera on that side.
Okay.
They have left it.
How to, okay, sir. Sudha, Dr. Sudha, R. Sudha has asked, sir, how to overcome the first one, how to overcome these complications in old age. Okay, sir, that common, you have mentioned it. She had put up at 12 o'clock round. I think
Okay.
the slides would have given a clarification for her. The next is by Ramya Satish, Dr. Ramya Satish from Biochemistry. Sir, for depression in old age, how is the electroconvulsive therapy? I think that was a question which she has asked.
Usually for
Can we address question over to each second application? The second question number.
Okay, the second question is, the sir, for old depression in old age, electroconvulsive therapy can be advisable till what age?
usually I don't prefer electroconvulsive therapy, but for other psychotic disorders we can use one. But depression can be best managed with the cognitive behavioral therapy and drugs. There is an extreme depression we can try, but it's questionable.
Okay, sir. Okay.
It's cumbersome also.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Then the Jyoti Kumaran has asked, old people also need to take 3 to 4 liters of water daily, or it may vary, sir? Sir, your audio video is not visible, sir. So your audio videos, sir, it is left out. Bhati, sir. Yes, come back. Sir, audio is muted, sir. Karthikeyan, sir, audio is muted. Yes, now it's on.
Yeah.
Yes, I feel some connectivity issues, sir.
The internet connection is very unstable.
It's okay, sir. Thanks. Old people also need to take 3 to 4 liters of daily water daily, or it may vary, sir. That was from our students. Sir, continue, sir.
Another question is that the Crohn's disease bowel disorders are common in old age. How to manage? Early diagnosis is the key to the management. Yeah. A lot of drugs we use, mesalazine, MSA, like that. A lot of drugs we use. But usually the drug will improve the quality of life only. It will not cure the disease.
So Dr. Shanta Chandrasekharan madam has asked, sir, your opinion on intermittent fasting.
That's an excellent question, ma'am. As an anti-aging, they prefer calorie restriction. Intermittent fasting has excellent results in diabetes management also. It's advisable. If you are able to do that, it is advisable. But it should be in a, what you will say, sir, in a staged manner. டமால்னு நம்ம குதிக்கக்கூடாது ஃபுல்லாக நான் 24 hours இருக்கேன் 48 hours. So it should be in a staged manner.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for excellent presentation, sir. We'll have a small certificate for you, sir, for appreciation.
Okay, ma'am. you, ma'am.
Request the chairperson to take over the session.
That was an excellent presentation by both Dr. Arun Kumar and Dr. Karthikeyan. And I thank them for joining us and sharing their knowledge and experiences. And since we have finished the question and answer session, I would like to conclude the session saying that love and respect all people, because one day you too will become old. Thank you.
Now, thank you, ma'am. Now I request Dr. R. Babita, Professor, Department of Physiology,
ma'am.
to give away the vote of thanks.
I thank our guest speakers, Dr. Arun Kumar Mohan sir and Dr. A. Karthikeyan sir, for their